this is like day 4 on my breakdown of One Night in Miami. But I said I was going to do all of it, so I'm going to do everything I thought about, because after I watched the movie One Night in Miami, it just hit me like that. What's up? It's your boy Cali Cole, iHeartRadio DJ. You can check me out on afternoons on Love 101.1, Savannah's R&B, and the best old school 103Q, today's hit music station for Southeast Georgia in the afternoons. And, of course, I'm on middays on Brunswick's inspiration station, Hallelujah 963. I'm continuing my One Night in Miami breakdown. At this point, it's like a synopsis. And if I sound crazy saying that, it's all good. But doing a breakdown on One Night in Miami. Terrific film. Kent Powers, Regina King, they did their thing. Of course, just to give another quick, overview of what's going on. Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, all in one hotel room the night after Muhammad Ali becomes the world champion, the heavyweight champion of the world at 22. So, like I said, when I watched the film, I was so drawn to it, and I felt like each of those men in the room. I wanted to do a deeper breakdown for my What You're Streaming, which I do on my show, but I'm doing a deeper breakdown for my blog. So yeah, when you get a chance, run by my blog, love1011.com or hallelujah963.com or my103q.com, and check out the other videos if you missed it. I'm talking about Jim Brown today, whose character Aldous Hodge Aldous Hodge did a great job of Jim Brown, just making sure he showed the emotion of what kind of man he was, like a solid man, a tough guy. Like everybody who speaks of Jim Brown always talks about how tough he is and how respected he was. And he really brought that to life in that character, even though the film started off funny with his character. But before I even go into that, I'll just talk a little bit about Jim Brown. It was special to see Jim Brown, who he's my grandma's first cousin. My grandma is from St. Simon's Island, and her family is from there. I'm deep rooted in Southeast Georgia, and my grandma just so happens to be Jim Brown's first cousin. So he's a figure, always been special to me. I always look up to him, first for being a football player, because I love football. And I feel like he is one of the best running backs of all time. I always put running backs with who I've seen play. And as far as running backs go, to me, the best I've ever seen play, because I kept up with their whole careers, is Reggie Bush and Derrick Henry. Those are my favorite running backs of all time. But just got a chance to look at Jim Brown's film. He definitely was that dude and was not a joke or to be joked with. So, in the film, he's at a crossroads, NFL to acting, and he definitely had a big acting career. One of my favorite movies, I like the hood movies, Original Gangsters. That's one of my favorite movies with Jim Brown in it, so I really, really enjoy that. But what's crazy is, even though he's looked at as this tough guy, and he's like 28 years old when at this time in the film, he has this personal humiliation that happens. And it's kind of different from everybody else, because everybody else had their own humiliation. You had like Muhammad Ali dealing with almost getting beat in a match. Then you had Sam Cooke bombing at the Copacabana. And then you had Malcolm X dealing with what he was dealing with in the nation openly, in the Nation of Islam, and just his stance and everything that was going on with him, and having to be silenced after what he said about JFK. So then you have Jim Brown's character, who still is flawless to everybody on the outside and everybody in the room. Even he didn't lose that respect. Even to go as far as at one point, Malcolm X has said, hey, Jim is doing this and he's doing it for the black community, or Jim is strong, his strength. That's what people look up to. But it's interesting how he has this moment where he's back on St. Simon's Island, and he's talking to someone. I believe the guy is supposed to be the guy whose house his mother cleaned that guy's house, the guy he was talking to in the beginning. And so their relationship is like, hey, I've seen you grow up, all this good stuff. You're doing so good for yourself. And then he goes to the doorway and Jim's like, oh, well, hey, I can help you out with this. And he turns around and says, oh, that's okay. You know, we don't let niggas in the house, you know, on St. Simon's Island. So that right there hit me a different way because it's like, man, you know, I love Southeast Georgia. I love St. Simon's. I love the area. I love my people. I love my history. But you can't think about that, this whole area and that without that type of attitude and the way that we have been treated historically here. So I thought that was very, very, it was something to see that because locally I'm here. I go to St. Simon's all the time. I'm over there eating and hanging out and all that stuff. My grandma, just like I told you, my family's from over there, just his family. My grandma got baptized on that pier up there where they got all the restaurants. And it's just it's a different place from what it was. Now it's kind of like a tourist place. But historically, you know, there were nothing but black people, you know, a bunch of black people on that island and inhabited that land. So he has a relationship with St. Simon's like it's a place of oppression. And it's a negative thing. And it kind of like makes it more concrete. When he goes back after you're successful, you've done everything, you've made a bunch of money, and somebody still calls you a nigga to your face. I think that was like a crazy turn of the film. And then everybody else, those other three guys who were in the room with him, they never see this interaction. So it's kind of like this thing that he's going on with in himself, you know. And I feel like that sometimes, you know, in anything in America as a black person, when you're trying to do things, you have to know how to move. You have to know when to fight with people and know when to say things and not to say things. And there's some things that we let people get away with for business. We'll let somebody say something smart or racially charged at us and get away with it in secret because it's just in secret. But what was so funny about it was when they got to a rooftop scene where there was an argument going on between Sam Cooke and Malcolm X, and Jim Brown is stopping Malcolm X's security, one of the brothers from the nation, and he tells him, hey, don't play with me, like he was going to fight the guy, but he didn't say anything to the white man on St. Simon's Island when the guy told him, hey, we don't let niggas in the house. So it's we still see a lot of that today, you know, even with people being so, what's going on, Cousin Sandra? What's going on, cuz? We still see people and black men today where you might be at a club or something and somebody might step on your shoe and you want to fight them, but a police officer might disrespect you and say something to you. And since it's in private and nobody can see it, you let them get away with it. Or just like on the street, how, you know, guys on the street, they quick to fight somebody, do this, that, and the other. But when the police show up, you get in the car, you sit down and you're chill. You have a totally different disposition and manner about yourself when dealing with somebody white rather than dealing with a brother. So I've seen that in his character, and they kind of like showed the point of weakness. I don't know if that's really how it went down or because the film is factional. It's some fiction and it's some fact with it. But it was interesting to see him want to fight a black man who said something to him. But when a white man said something to him, he kind of just took it and took the egg on his face and left. Even though he's a famous football player, one of the most famous people in America at this time, he takes that egg in his face and he wears it. So, and getting to the room after the championship fight, after Muhammad Ali takes the title, it's interesting to see him and Ali. They were so connected, both of them talking about being gladiators, being athletes, and being successful. And so I thought that was good to see his mentor-like relationship with Ali. It was like they could talk about things and talk about things in secret, and they kind of had this connection that the other guys didn't have because they were athletes. And even as Jim Brown, to go as far as sharing with Muhammad Ali that he had did a film before he shared it with anybody else. So I thought that was interesting. It showed how close they were. And these two brothers lived on and got to continue their relationship. Sam Cooke, Malcolm X, you know, that they were cut down within a year later of this hotel room meeting. But those two brothers, Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali, got to build more and continue a friendship. And I seen a lot of good pictures and stuff of them training together too. So that was pretty awesome. I like the dynamic of their relationship. And Muhammad Ali being 22 at the time and Jim Brown being 28, it was like, okay, that was his mentor and that was a good person to pattern yourself after. Sam Cooke and Jim Brown, same type of relationship, both successful. Both knew the ropes. Sam Cooke was seasoned. He was like 33 years old. Jim Brown was 28 at the time, so they had been used to their success. They lived with their success. They knew who they were, and they were comfortable in their own skin, and they were comfortable with each other. There was something that the way that Sam Cooke was didn't really offend Jim Brown. It kind of bothered Malcolm X a lot, but the way that Sam Cooke was, it didn't offend Jim Brown because of the realm that they were in. He was, trying to go into Hollywood. He was trying to be successful on this other end of entertainment like Sam Cooke was. So I think they had a close relationship there, even so close that it came to a point to where Malcolm X was having a conversation with Jim Brown after him and Sam Cooke got into it. And Jim Brown basically told him, hey, you got no right to judge Sam Cooke. He is who he is. He's a brother. He's just as black as you. He's just as concerned as you. This brother is from Mississippi. You can't count him out as far as what, how he sees the world and his worldview. He's still a black man and he's aware of it. So that was something to me to even see him so serious about standing up for Sam Cooke to Malcolm X. So it showed how tight their relationship was. Jim Brown and his relationship in parallel to Malcolm X and what him and Malcolm X had in common and what they talked about. They both were respected. They both were fierce. They were tough. And he was respected enough by Malcolm X for Malcolm X to correct him and even dig deeper. As you see in the film, Malcolm X, and it's a factional movie, so it may have happened or it may have not. Malcolm X breaks down and he starts crying and kind of just going into a place to where like, yo, I got a lot on me. Jim Brown was, so respected and so tough that you see Malcolm X let his hair down with him in a way that he didn't do with anybody else. So that was very, very powerful. And I like how Jim Brown also, even talked to Malcolm X about, hey, you're going down this road, you're like this, but what are you doing it for? Who are you trying to prove this to? And we've all been at those crossroads choosing who we want to be. Do we want to be martyrs? Want to be all for the cause? Do we want to be about business? Do we want to expand? It's so much as a black man thinking about who you should be and how you should carry yourself. But at the end of the day, the option is yours. And so that's what I liked about Jim Brown's character. He was all of those things. He was fierce. He was strong. He was business savvy. He was a superstar. He was tough. He said what he wanted to say, but at the same time, he still had a situation where somebody made him feel like less than nothing, and he had to carry that with him. Matter of fact, you see in the film, there's a point where he goes back in the room, he goes to the bathroom, and he looks at himself in the mirror. And you could almost, as soon as I see him look in the mirror, it makes me think about what happened in the first scene when he was on St. Simon's Island and the white man called him a nigga to his face. So, yeah, film, dope. It's loaded. If you haven't seen it yet, One Night in Miami. I got one more historical figure and character breakdown coming tomorrow. It's going to be Malcolm X. That's going to be real. That's going to be on point. But like I said, I've just been inspired. So I just wanted to expand my What You're Streaming and share what I thought about the film and each character and how it relates to me in relation to being a black man. And Jim Brown's very special. I never met Jim Brown, never met him. But like I say, it's my grandma's first cousin, and I do want to meet him. I think he definitely has some game for me. And I've always been a fan of him, especially his influence. I forgot to mention Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke alludes to moving to L.A. and Baldwin Hills and all that stuff. Jim Brown did that, big, major figure in the Los Angeles community, so much so that he helped with gang peace treaties and did so much work with the brothers in that community. So he's really well respected all the way around. So hopefully one day I do get to meet Jim Brown. But as you see in the film, he doesn't fool with St. Simon's Island, so it might have to be somewhere else. But yeah, y'all be blessed. Make sure you check out my blog, love1011.com, hallelujah963.com, and my103q.com. And of course, let me know what you're streaming. Hit me up on Facebook and tell me what films you should watch. I watched a couple of films this week, and I'm going to be doing some breakdowns each week. This one is just long because the movie was so powerful. It hit me so good. Once again, major shout out to Regina King and Kent Powers and Aldris Hodge for his depiction of Jim Brown. And get at your boy, man. What you streaming? I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to do Sam Cooke. And I'm going to do Malcolm X, and that's going to be it. And I'll have a whole nother film overview for what you're streaming. Hey, y'all be cool. Y'all be blessed.